And basically this next building I'm going to be showing you guys is on the rooftop of this Are you freaking kidding me right now? Are you serious? What's going on, guys? Mr. Stealth Dog here, and welcome back to Santos Declassified. Let's hop right in because we have a lot of buildings to go over today. So the first building is from a mission in the campaign where you rob the jewelry store as part of a heist. I actually found this out by myself just walking around one day, and I noticed that there was a wall, kind of for no reason, blocking off the stairwell. So I climbed up on top and figured out that you could actually climb into where Franklin actually goes up during the mission onto the ladder. And I found that the ladder actually goes all the way up to the top to a nice little sniper tower, I think of it as, up here. And it gives a really good view to all the shops around here in the middle of town square. If you turn around, there's actually a door that leads out into a big network of rooftops that you could use to basically snipe anyone in the area around or just have fun with. This was also the area in the mission where you threw the smoke grenades into the ventilation if you actually went through that route to the mission. Here's where it's located on the map, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the next building. The next building is probably the most noticeable building of all of them, and it's pretty much only accessible by helicopter unless you're in campaign, in which there is actually an elevator that goes up. On the top of the Mile High Club, there's a big construction site that's up here, and there's actually multiple Enterable floors and a lot of detail for some reason. I don't remember doing any missions up here. Maybe you did a couple, but it's been a while since I did the campaign, and I just didn't see any reason for there to be construction up here. Once I landed on top of the building, there was basically about 4 floors you could explore. On the bottom 3 floors actually have a cover, and the last top floor has no cover, and there's more detailed up there. This is actually a great spot. If you're being attacked online or if you have a bounty, come here, because it's really hard to get by helicopter if you're shooting at somebody, and if they do happen to land here, you got a lot of cover to hide behind where you could take them out with your friends. On the top floor to the right, there's going to be a tall yellow crane that's connected to the building by these red steel platforms. And if you crawl across the platforms using stealth mode, you'll be able to get to the ladders and get to the very top of the crane, which I find is a really good spot for sniping people that are on other tall buildings that you can't access, or just a good spot for bungee jumping. The next building that's going to be way out in the country is actually another one of the Los Santos customs that you can actually go into. This one I've never noticed before, and I've gone to this Los Santos customs a lot. There's a door to the left out in the country you could just walk right into, and then you could go in right into the whole mechanic shop. This mod shop is a lot more detailed in its fact that it features a couch and a desk and pictures on the wall and all kinds of tools spread throughout the shop. I think this building would be nice for some of the clans that are into cars because it's an easily accessible building in a nice spot out in the country. When I was filming the first segment of this building, a guy drove up because I had a bounty, and he was going to try to kill me. And he kept trying to figure out how I got in here. And he was driving his truck up, he was going inside, and then he'd back out. But he couldn't figure out that you could just walk right through the door to the left side. The next building is going to be a large walled-in power plant that's located across the street from the casino. This is actually a very nice location, I think, for gangs or clans that are looking for a good hideout, because really the only way this is accessible is by parachuting or a helicopter. There's no way you could drive a car in here. When I got out, I noticed that there were some ladders that went to the top of the wall that was surrounding the compound, which was like really useful for providing sniper support if you're trying to defend the area. And if you're trying to hide out from a bounty, this would be a nice place to hide out because there's a lot of cover in here. After walking around for a little bit, I actually started climbing on the different things, and I jumped onto one of the power equipment things, and it just shocked me and threw me in different directions, so I was having fun bouncing around with those. The next building's way out in the country, and I was just driving around out here, and then I found this little boathouse, and I thought it was interesting. It's not really useful for anything, but inside there's a couple boats and fishing equipment that could just be used for like a background if you're shooting a movie or something. When I first pulled up to this area, you gotta be careful because there's a gang area that sometimes spawns. And I didn't notice it, and I walked in here and I heard all this ruckus outside, people yelling and screaming. I turned around to see a bunch of people shooting at me and running in towards the building, and that was not a very pleasant experience. While looking around, it kind of reminded me of what boats were actually available to us in GTA. And, you know, now that I think about it, there's not a lot of boats that are actually available to the players online. And I thought some big boats, like a yacht or something that could be available soon in the next gen version would be pretty interesting. The next building I like to call the game room. It's kind of like a little hangout area for the guys or the crew that you hang out with. Basically, it's a very large backyard with a diving pool and an upstairs balcony, and then you've got a weight room and a ping pong table to mess around with. I think it's a really good spot to take pictures or shoot a video if you're trying to shoot, you know, maybe like a music video or some kind of movie for the game. If I could own this home, I would take it in a minute. I mean, they've got the view of a lifetime. The backyard is just incredible. And this weight room, I actually wouldn't mind having. I don't have a weight room and I don't really lift that much, but I think if I had this back room, I would totally use it. Along with this house in the backyard, you've actually got access through the front yard, and there's actually a gate that you can use to get back here. The next area is going to be pretty well known, and this is going to be the horse area in the casino area. Now back over here, there is a little lost MC kind of thing back from Liberty City in GTA 4. But you've got the gang that kind of hangs out around here. And in this area, you have a really small kind of enterable shed over here in the corner. And then around back, if you jump over the fence, you'll get to the stables where they keep all the horses. And it's actually a pretty neat area. I'm sure with all the rumors of the casino DLC going around, this will be utilized for horse racing or some sort of, I don't know, animal activities back here. If you drive your car around to the other side of the racetrack, you'll see some more horse stables, and these actually have an upstairs area which could be used just for, I guess, watching racing if you had set up a race here, or just as a crew hangout, because it's a pretty nice area. You can store a bunch of cars around here, even land some helicopters out front. This next set of buildings is more of an area rather than an Enterable building, but they're pretty close together, so I decided to mix two buildings together. So if you drive over here next to the gun store on the right side of town, you'll come up to this ladder here on the side of a warehouse building. You can climb up on top of the ladder and access a huge network of roofs, plus a small Enterable area where there's some staircases, and it's almost like a little apartment complex on the inside. Once you go in the stairs and exit out the bottom, there's a huge kind of courtyard for you to store vehicles and multiple alleyways that you can park around here. I think this would be a cool area for a car show, which I've been meaning to do lately, but I haven't really had any time to actually coordinate one. But anyways, right as you get done and get out of the stairs, you can go right across the street down the alley to a red little warehouse where there's a few boxes and a dumpster stored. This is going to be right outside the outskirts of the downtown area, and it's going to give you a great view for the city. Moving back out in the country, I got the perfect place for you and your buddy to hide if you're ever getting in any trouble. Literally way out in the middle of nowhere, there's a small railroad shack that houses one of the railroad tankers, and on the inside it's pretty lit up. There's a nice little area to take cover behind, plus you can have fun with some of the oil cans on the inside. Moving on to the next area, you probably saw this in the beginning of the video. I was trying to fly my helicopter up here onto this rooftop building and completely failed when I got out of my helicopter. Lucky for me, I ran all the way around the building with just a little bit of health left and climbed all the way up this staircase, or this ladder that was on the other side, and I eventually got to the rooftop where I could jump back to the other side, which is another useful way to get onto this building rather than a helicopter. So basically what you've got here is a small interior building with the roof cut out of it, and then once you climb through one of the windows that has a great view actually of the downtown area, you can actually access the rooftop and climb through another ladder up top and back to the beginning. Coming out to one of our last little areas, we're going to travel out to the left side of the map where we're going to find the Hookie's Bar and Grill. And out here you've got a nice kind of, it's almost like a picnic area I would think of when you see these tables, and it's a nice little bar and grill with some arcade games on the outside and some food stashed right next to the door. If you walk around back and watch out for the people here, because I accidentally bumped into this lady and eventually she's gonna come back to haunt me. But I ran around to the back and discovered that there were some porta potties in a small little inside area, and I've seen in the past you could blow open some of the doors, so I decided to just drop a grenade in here and see what happened. And after letting go of this little toy here, it actually knocked out the light, opened up most of the porta potties, and it was an interesting combination of what happened after that. This guy and a lady had a talk, and they got mad eventually that I was around here. So I killed him, took his bike, and I had a nice day after that. Coming up on the last building in the game, we're going to travel down to Palieto Bay, where I'm going to show you some of the new sniping spots that I discovered recently. So if you go right in the middle of the highway, right next to the chicken factory, you're going to see this little air conditioner sitting outside of a small trailer sort of building here. You're going to climb on top and you're going to notice that there's a little hallway inside for reasons I know not. And then you go through the building and there's a ladder on the back side where you can climb into a small little warehouse that's on a roof here. I ran around for a little bit and noticed that there was actually a pretty good sized network of roofing throughout the area, and if you climb to the other side of the roofs, there is a small water tower that you can actually climb up the ladder to, and it's a great sniping spot for the entire town. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like below, and if you're new, subscribe. This is going to be the last episode of Santos Declassified on the current gen consoles, as we're going to have GTA 5 coming out for next gen in a few days. And I cannot wait for that. It's going to be so exciting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more buildings and a lot more to discover. Until next time guys, this has been Mr. Stealth Dog. Peace out.